Hello. So today is May 6th, okay? And I thought today would be a good day to, well, actually, okay, here's what was going on. I was actually in the process of planning this video, like taking some notes about what I wanted to say. And then like in the middle of writing my second bullet point, I just said, you know what, let me just film it now, because once I start taking the notes, the thoughts start going, and I figure I might as well just say it out loud right then and there. So I'm drinking out of my Hawaii Volcanoes cup, which I'm now realizing is probably strange timing considering what's going on over there. So, prayers to everybody who's being affected by that. This is usually the cup I like to eat ice cream out of because for some reason I think that's really funny. Fire and ice cream. Anyway, so I thought I would talk to you about a couple things today. One, reflecting a little bit on my Camp NaNoWriMo experience and letting you know what's going on with book 2, Snowflake, but also kind of letting you know what's going to happen next, like what am I planning on working on next. So first I'll talk about Camp NaNoWriMo and Snowflake. So I wrote my 30,000 words. I wrote 30,038, and by the time you're seeing this, the vlog should already be up. It was originally supposed to be like a vlog for each week of Camp Nano, but then I was moving, and so the first week wouldn't have much, so I was gonna make it every other, like 2 weeks, and then I just got lazy and didn't feel like editing the video, so now it's one massive 4-week long video, but it's okay, everything's fine. So if you haven't checked that out already, I will link that down below, and it'll probably be in the end cards of this video. So, excuse me, that was not a ladylike move. But I am not a lady, so it's all good. I'm really proud of myself for writing my 30,000 words, and if you hear anything in the background, like I've probably said in a previous video, the washer machine is right outside my door. And it's really old and it's really aggressive, so where to start? Well, I guess I'll start with the end. Isn't that poetic? I actually reached a really good stopping point at the end of the Camp Nano. I got to a scene that was kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. My character reached the point, basically she reached her breaking point, and I finished writing at the end of her breaking point. So what happens next is I guess how she kind of pulls through that or goes even closer to rock bottom. I'm not really sure quite yet how that's going to go. She's most certainly going to hit rock bottom before the book is over though, I'll tell you that, if she hasn't already. So, positive things coming ahead. And let's see. So another reason that I think that I reached a really good stopping point is because not only was my character sort of losing her mind, but it kind of felt like the story was getting a little bit disjointed. Like, yeah, I've planned out the story, but it started to feel like, okay, the first few chapters are really going well. The scenes were happening the way either I expected them to, or if they didn't turn out how I expected them to, they happened, in a really interesting way that I feel really good about. But then the last couple of scenes kind of were like, what? Like, what the heck did I just write? So I have this theory that if I have a fear, like if I'm afraid of something, I'm afraid of like primarily 4 things. I don't really want to go into it now, but I'll tell you, I guess, like 1 or 2 of them now. Relevant to this story though, I'm afraid of spiders. So I had this theory that if I write about it, I can take some kind of power and control over it, and so maybe I'm not any less afraid of it necessarily, but I still kind of, I can stand a bit taller facing it. So I don't care for spiders. I just don't want them. Stay outside, let's not cross paths, and we'll both be chill, okay? So I wrote a scene which, for reasons I will not go into, my character is turned into a spider. And let me tell you, I was writing this, if you saw the end of that Camp Nano vlog, I was very tired. So when I get tired, I get a bit loopy and I get a bit, I don't know, I get some strange ideas apparently, because I decided to turn my character into a spider. I knew I wanted her to turn into something, but it didn't have to be that. And so I wrote the scene from the perspective of a spider. And I'm thinking, as I was writing the scene, and even after I finished it, I'm thinking like, this scene is probably going to get cut. I don't know if it will or not yet. I'll have to see what revisions say, but it was that sort of thing, like these kinds of weird things happening at the end of my 30,000 words. Like the story was starting to take a really weird path, and I wasn't sure that it was like in character with the rest of the story, and so that's something that I have to think about in revisions. But I think that I think that Camp NaNoWriMo ended at a good place before I went way too far down that path, so I'm able to kind of cut it off while we still sort of have our heads on, step back, look at it with brand new eyes, and then really determine if we should keep moving down this path or if we should get ourselves back on track. Kind of going off of that, now that Camp Nano is over, I've decided to take a break from this story, not because I don't want to continue working on it, but kind of like I just mentioned, I think I do need to kind of step back from the story and reassess where it's heading, but also because as Camp NaNoWriMo was progressing, I was thinking in the back of my mind of ways that I can improve my first book, which I was about to say Snowflake, my first book, Storm Cloud, which is, you know, the first book in this series. So that's where I'm going to go next. I said that I didn't want to go back to Storm Cloud until I figured out what exactly I wanted to do with the beginning, like how exactly I wanted to tackle that and kind of fix the issues I had with it. And so I think now that I've kind of got a good idea of where I want to go, it's not going to change too much, but what I'm doing is I'm reordering some of the scenes. I'm prioritizing certain like events or moments that happen. Like I was putting too much energy into describing things one way when I should have been describing them a different way, or I was putting too much energy into kind of like the means and not so much the end. So what I mean by that is, in the beginning, you know, I want certain things to happen because my character has to go, you know, she has to basically kick off this journey. There's got to be the initiating event, and I always knew what I wanted the initiating event to be, but how I got to that point, I was spending too much time worrying about that when I really needed her to just get there. And so what I've done is I've cut out a scene that really didn't bring much to the table. A scene that when I wrote it, I always kind of felt was sort of a lame way for her to get there. And also just made it weighed down the beginning of the story too much. Like it was too bogged down with these unnecessary things that were happening that really ultimately didn't contribute much but fluff. So I'm glad to kind of see that go. I'm basically just pushing straight through and getting to the initiating event in a different way that will kind of what's the word, like it'll show more of Race's character and her backstory and her upbringing without having too much of her internal monologue, because that was the other thing. I was way too much inside her head so that the story read very slowly, and instead of like focusing on the action and just kind of like, you know, hitting the ground running, my character was thinking too much. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show her in her life, show her in her life. She's about to leave her life, right? She's making that decision, like she doesn't want to have this life anymore. So she's made that decision to leave, and so she's been preparing for it. And so instead of showing her still trying to figure out what she's going to do, I'm starting with the story where she's already decided what she's going to do, and now she just has to kind of execute her plan. And of course things are going to go a bit awry, and she's going to end up, you know, on a different path that she didn't quite expect. And so I'm also just trying to make her more active in general, because I feel like she's kind of active, but in a sort of backwards way where like it seems like she's active, but if you really think about it and you really look at how the prior scenes were set up, it's really another character acting and kind of pushing her towards that path. Like things are happening to her, not so much her making things happen. So I'm trying to make her make more things happen. And what's interesting is that when I was writing Snowflake, I was writing it with these sort of changes in mind. Like I had sort of an idea of how I wanted to revise book 1, and so I was writing book 2 as if I'd already made those changes. So that's pretty cool because that would make it a little bit easier. That's one less thing I have to worry about when I do eventually go back to revise book 2 after I've already written the whole thing, of course. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. So today's Sunday. I've already gotten ready for work, like everything's ready, so I'm thinking that tomorrow after work I'm gonna go to like a cafe or something. I'm probably not gonna go to Barnes & Noble just because I want to venture out and, you know, try something new. It's a new month. Let's go to a new place. So I might go to like a cafe or something. There's a cafe down the street from here that I've been wanting to try, because that'd be really cool if I have somewhere that I know that I like, that's in walking distance from my house where I can work on my story. That's really cool to have. I wasn't originally gonna go somewhere tomorrow after work, because I know tomorrow after work what I need to do is sit down and finish editing my Camp Nano vlog, which of course, like I said, will be up by the time you're watching this video. But I think I really just want to get going on my book 1 revisions. Like, I'm really eager to move forward with that and kind of just get it out of my hair, because I feel like if I play with it too much anymore, it's gonna start to become something completely different. Like, you know, I'll always be finding things that I want to change. I'll always be finding, you know, new world building things that will completely drastically change the way the book is now, and then I'll really just never be done with it. So yeah, I don't want to get to that point. I want to be done with it. I want to be able to move on to book 2, or even be able to move on to Pitchfork or something. I just want to move forward. I don't want to keep running in circles. I don't want to keep living this Sisyphean existence of pushing this rock up the hill only to have it roll back down again. Thank you. I think that's all I've got today. I think future Sydney will have a good time editing this particular video, because I did not trip over my words quite as much as I normally do. So, yeah, maybe the tea is what helped. In case you're wondering what type of tea I'm drinking, tea, Earl Grey, hot. That's for all you Star Trek fans out there. And it's empty. That's all that I got for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, I will leave my Camp Nano vlog down below in the links. Yeah, so check that out down below. If you guys participated in Camp NaNoWriMo, let me know how that went for you. And until then, I will see you in my next video. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever I post new videos. And I will see you next time. Toodaloo! I was thinking, okay, one more thing. I was thinking about this the other day, and I don't know if I've ever even said the word toodaloo before in my life until I sat down and filmed a video. So there's just something to think about.